Hey guys, it's Lisa with the Flagstaff Times, and I am here with the lovely Simone Dinnerstein. And we're lucky enough to go ahead and have a quick conversation with her and get to know her just a little bit. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Simone Dinnerstein. I'm a pianist from Brooklyn, New York, and this is my first time in Flagstaff. Yes.
So we were lucky enough to see her perform last night, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just the whole performance, even the way, it was almost like watching a ballet. So the questions that I have are more related to, you as a person. So, when did you get your start?
I started playing the piano when I was 7. I had wanted to start even earlier. My parents are not musically, they don't have a musical background, but my father's an artist. And so I encountered the piano in ballet class, actually. There was a pianist who played, and that's where I fell in love with the instrument. And so it's always been something that I wanted to do. And when I started playing, I immediately loved it. I started my lessons at 7, and then at 9, I started going to music school, to Manhattan School of Music. Every Saturday I'd go all day for classes, and I basically knew what I wanted to be from that age.
So it was like a calling.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about what it's like to, do you travel a lot? How does that coordinate with your family and all of that?
So being a concert pianist means traveling quite a bit, and I have a son who's now 24. I have a husband and a son, and so when he was young, that was definitely challenging because I was on the road a lot, and so I'd be away from him a lot. But my husband is a school teacher, and so he was on the same schedule as our son, so he was always there for him. So that was great. And now my son is an actor, and he lives in London, and so he's out doing his own thing. But being a concert pianist involves traveling to play concerts internationally, and it's exciting but also challenging.
Is there a performance that stands out of all of them that either touched you the most or kind of maybe changed the trajectory of your work?
There's so many performances. I mean, from very sort of small ones, like one that stood out early in my 20s. I did a concert in East Texas in a place called Brushy Creek, in a little church, and that performance was very memorable, just because it was in this very, very tiny little church that was packed, and the minister gave a little prayer before we started the concert, asking people to open up their hearts and their ears to the music, and I found that very, very moving. That was a very profound experience for me. And on the other end, one of the things that was just incredible experience was playing in London. I played in part of the BBC Proms. Every summer they do these concerts called the Proms at the Royal Albert Hall, and I performed the Rhapsody in Blue with the National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain in front of 6,000 people in the Royal Albert Hall, and it was being televised live on the BBC, and that was like a spectacle and amazing. So from very small to very big, every concert can be very meaningful.
Yeah, I bet. And you were also nominated for a Grammy, correct?
Yeah, in 2022. 2007 was when my debut recording came out, and that kind of launched my career. And that recording, in the week that it came out, went to #1 on the classical Billboard chart. So that was very exciting.
And last night you had shared, and forgive me, I'm not a connoisseur of piano, but last night you shared a story that touched me, and it was about you transposing some work from a fellow pianist who can no longer play. So you're kind of carrying on some of his work. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, that was, I was talking about the great pianist Keith Jarrett, and he had played a performance back in the 70s that was recorded in Tokyo. And on the album there's this fantastic encore that he played, and it's so beautiful. I didn't transcribe it, this pianist in Germany transcribed it, but I was able to get the music from him, and I wasn't sure if it would be kosher for me to be performing this piece, because it was an improvisation that Keith Jarrett did, and for me to play it in a concert, is that like okay? And so I contacted Keith Jarrett's manager, and he said, yes, it is okay, and in fact, it would be good for you to do that, because Jarrett had very sadly had some strokes and could no longer perform. And so this is a way of carrying on the tradition. And I'm not the only person who's been doing this. My friend Maki Nakagawa has been performing the Köln concert, and different people are performing his music now. His improvised music, they're performing it as concert music.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
As far as like, if you could speak to perhaps, you know, which you probably have been doing with these master classes, but maybe not even a student here at NAU, but just a young female pianist who wants to do what you're doing right now. Do you have a couple pieces of advice that you could give her, of things that you've learned over your career and your life?
Okay, life has changed a lot since I was a young woman. I think that it's important to have a full life. It's not just your work. And for me, my husband has been like a vital part of my life. And I don't think I could have done any of this without him, because I had this really deep connection, and he enabled me to have a child, because if I was on my own, that would have been really hard. I mean, I have friends who are single parents and have managed to do it successfully, but I think I would have found that really, really hard. So I just recommend for everyone to have deep friendships or partners that can, or family members, or you need to have support. You need to be able to be supported.
Okay, so what did you think of Flagstaff? Did you get to do anything, or you pretty much were bound because of the altitude? So she experienced, you know, Flagstaff 7,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for people that aren't familiar with even what a concert pianist does in that lifestyle, but there's seems to be like a whole subculture that you're in, I would imagine.
There's the classical music world, and here in Flagstaff, I'm here because of the Flagstaff Piano Festival, and so the audience last night was particularly focused because there were a lot of students that are studying here who are ranging in age, high school through college, and their teachers were here, and then there were a lot of people that are just classical music lovers or piano lovers that were here. So it was a particularly kind of niche group of people, and I could sense that from the way that they listened, and then afterwards when the people were talking to me, they were talking in very detailed ways about what I had played, That's not always the case when I go play a concert. Sometimes I go play for an audience that is, maybe they've gone to symphony concerts during their life. So it's nice to have a crowd that had these young people in it. That was great.
Coming
Yeah.
with dreams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to inspire them. I'm sure they were blown away. Yeah, well, I'm glad you made it to Flagstaff.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you sitting down with us. If you guys would like more information, I already linked her Instagram and her Facebook page, but would you like to share maybe your website?
My website is pretty comprehensive, so that would be a good thing. It's just my name, SimoneDinnerstein.com.
SimoneDinnerstein.com.
Yeah, speak with you. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Thanks.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.